Hi there, it's Nicole for Neat and Tangled, and today I have a card showcasing the Into the Woods stamp set and the scalloped dies. And I am using the greeting from the Into the Woods stamp set as the foundation for creating my little scene. So it's almost kind of serving as a landscape where I build all of my little scene and set my critters and all of the leaves and mushrooms and things on that greeting. What I'm going to do first is create that decorative scallop background with one of these scalloped dies die cut from some watercolor cardstock. I love decorative panels like this. They add immediate interest to the background of the card. You could definitely nest these, layer them if you wanted to. I use the largest sized one from this die collection simply because my greeting fit this the best. So I really kind of started with the greeting. I'm going to stamp that along the bottom edge of my rectangle using Versamark ink and heat embossing with white embossing powder. Once I have that built, I am really going to just build the whole scene from this. So I have that, and then I'm going to take the little leaves image from the Into the Woods stamp set and stamp it above the greeting. And I wanted to go ahead and stamp the whole thing here because I love all the little additional motion type images, even though a lot of them got covered up when I put my scene together. But I really liked the look of it, so I went ahead and stamped that with Versamark as well and heat embossed with white embossing powder. Once I have this all heat set, and I like to go from both the front and the back of the panel, it kind of helps keep the warping to a minimum. I'm going to go ahead and apply some ink over my embossed areas for the embossed resist look. So I'm going to start with some gathered twigs along the bottom. I purposely went with a color combination perfect for fall, kind of the thankful season that we're in right now. Next, I'm applying some wild honey, and I'm going to finish with scattered straw distress inks. And I'm just going to go back and forth between the inks until I get a nice, seamless, smooth transition from one color to another. Once I have my inks all applied, I'm going to take a dry paper towel and simply buff my greeting to get any of that residual ink that might be sitting on top of the embossed areas off so that it's still nice bright white. Then I'm going to take some of the tarnished brass, antiqued bronze, and picket fence distress paints, water them down with some water, and then pick them up with a small paintbrush and flick them over the surface of my background. I love the look of paint splatters like this. It adds immediate interest to the background. I went ahead and used 3 different colors just to really make it fun and interesting. I love the addition of this great bronze color here. I'm cleaning my paintbrush really good after each color, and then I'm going to set this background aside to completely dry while I work on stamping and coloring all of the cute critters and images from the Into the Woods stamp set. Now, to make it even easier on myself, I like to use the MISTI so that I can stamp as many of the images as I need to at once. Plus, this is going to allow me to stamp the images more than one time, one right on top of another, if my first stamped impression isn't as dark or as good of an image as I want. So I went ahead and stamped this twice. I thought I was going to want some more hearts, and so I tried to stamp it here a few times. I didn't particularly like how some of those turned out, but I think I did end up using them or stamping it a couple more times. And then I'm going to color in my images with Copic markers. I did stamp these on smooth white cardstock using some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, perfect for Copic coloring. The colors I'm using for each of the individual images are shown across the bottom of the screen in case you're ever wondering exactly what color of marker or colored pencil I generally almost always put them across the bottom of the screen. Laying down my colors for the deer, this definitely is just, the critters in this stamp set are adorable. I can't say enough about them. I absolutely love them. I think they're going to be so fun for different cards. And this deer would be darling for holiday themed cards. I have plans to share something with it more holiday themed instead of a thankful type of card later on this month. I am laying down my darker color now. I generally tend to start with lighter colors and then work my way up to a darker color combination if it's needed. You can always make the image a little bit darker, but it's really hard to lighten it up. So I tend to always gravitate towards on the light side and just gradually building that color up until it's exactly the way I need it to look. What's great about Copic markers is you can color over images multiple times without going through your paper or anything like that that might happen with traditional markers. These are alcohol ink-based markers, and so definitely amazing for being able to kind of change your mind, fix coloring mistakes, little things like that. I'm going to color in the hooves a little bit darker. This is one of my favorite color combinations, the E40, 43, and 44. A lot of times if I need a little bit darker areas, which I did on this image, I like to pull in a little E47 or E49. I used E47 here, but I love this brown color combination for all kinds of different critters, for hair, for just lots of different things that require browns. I just love it. Now I did try to color around those cute little spots on my deer, but my markers kind of bled into those areas, which is okay. I can fix that with a white opaque marker here in a little bit. My hearts are colored with our 24, 27, and 39. And then for my mushrooms, I'm going to use a yellow-red color combination of YR 23, 24, and 27. And then a little R39 for the dots on my mushrooms. And as I was trying to figure out if I wanted to color both mushrooms exactly the same, I went ahead and skipped down and did my leaves. One of the leaves is done in the same color combination I just used for the mushroom. One is in a color combination of yellow greens, so that kind of green color combination, and then I went ahead and did a red leaf as well. Sticking mostly to color combinations that I have already used, trying not to pull in too many additional colors. I'm going to go ahead and take those greens now and do the stems of my mushrooms with those yellow-green markers. I love these, YG 91, 95, and 97. And I'll color the top of the mushroom just like I did the first one, adding some dots with R39 and then darkening up that area underneath that you can see on this one. Blending out the top as needed. And darkening up that bottom part of the mushroom stem as well with my darkest YG97. For the mouse, I am going to use some warm grays. I love warm grays for coloring animal fur as opposed to maybe cool grays or something like that. I am using warm gray 00, 1, 3, and 4 with a little R00 for the insides of the ear and the cheek on the mouse, plus a little bit on the tummy area as well. I laid down just a tiny bit of that and I'll blend it out here in a little bit. Darkening up areas as needed. I felt like he needed a little bit more shadowing, a little bit more depth and dimension, so I went back over it with my warm gray 4 marker, pulling in a little more color. You can always blend it out if the shadowing is a little too dark. My acorn, I'm going to use my same color combination I used for the deer with E40, 43, 44, and 49. Little YG95 for the leaf there sticking off of my acorn. So super cute. And then my little hedgehog here, I'm going to color in with some very light earth tones, E0000, E00011, and then I will even use a little E44 and 47 for the fur, and R00 to pinken up the cheek. Just using a little feathering technique with my darkest E47 color. E44 was my base color there, and then E47. I'll darken up some of the areas in that lighter part of the image with E11 and blend it out with one of my lighter markers. And I even stamped and colored a couple of additional images. Once I had all of these done, I really felt like I needed a couple more things. Another leaf, 2 more hearts, and then the cute little apple. There are so many darling images in this stamp set. Lots of great ways to use it. I'll take the coordinating Into the Woods dies and die cut my images here. Lay everything out to the side, die cut any additional images that I need to. And then I can start putting the scene together. So my background has dried now, and I am using a combination of a glue glider adhesive for some larger images, and then glue dots, the bling glue dots in particular, for my smaller images, and building up my scene. So a great way to build a scene is to layer the images. So the mushrooms kind of overlap the deer. The leaf overlaps the hedgehog. The mouse is going to overlap the deer and then kind of be behind the leaf. Have my acorn there. I'm going to go ahead and put a heart down. I'll put a couple of additional ones. I love to darken up the eyes with a black glaze pen. I also did the noses on these images, and I went over the little spots on the deer with a white opaque pen. Use the Stardust glitter pen to add detail to the acorn, leaves, and mushrooms. Go ahead and attach my remaining stamped, colored, and die cut images. I love little trios of embellishments. So I have 3 hearts here, which really coordinates back to the greeting really nicely. I'll tuck my last leaf underneath the deer, add detail to it with the Stardust glitter pen, and then take some glossy accents and apply that to my hearts. The white opaque pen for the little highlight on the apple as well. Once I have everything embellished, I'm going to go ahead and let that glossy accents completely dry, and then attach this panel to a white side fold card base to finish up the card, and it is all ready to be put in the mail and given to someone special. Thanks for joining me today for this fall-themed thank you card showcasing the Neat and Tangled Into the Woods stamps and dies and the scalloped dies. The supplies I've used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos showcasing Neat and Tangled stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.